Lyvation, ENT.
I want to welcome everyone to another special episode of Lyvation Conversations. I am DJ Strong, and I just remind everybody that this episode is powered by 3amstudios.biz. You can check us out online, 3amstudios.biz, for all of your production needs. With that being said, we have a very special episode. I want to thank all of our talented panelists for being here. We've had some very intriguing conversations over the last few weeks, and I guarantee you that this one you do not want to miss. So please subscribe below. Make sure you leave a comment. We want to hear from you. L.A. Jackson, are you with us?
I am here, sir. How you doing, DJ Strong?
I am doing great, man. L.A. is our resident author, music producer, industry insider. He's doing some of everything right now. But L.A., I'm going to pass it to you so we can get this ball rolling.
Well, I want to welcome everybody here. Thank you, DJ Strong. We've got, like DJ Strong said, a special guest. It's great to hear good music by people, but when they make music that touches you and you hear the music and it goes back to a certain point in your life, you know that's some monumental music. I met our special guest tonight. Well, I first heard his music around the 90s, and it came at a time when there was all this other stuff. And just like Moses parted the waters, Speech and Arrested Development came through and did this to the music industry and just really set a whole new path there. And I will never forget their music till the day I die. 10 years later, I met Speech personally through a very good friend. God bless him, Baba OJ, who was the elder and spiritual advisor. This guy was incredible. I think he was about 72 when I met him. However, he's been roller skating 3-4 times a week, just eating healthy and everything. And, I was just so glad and fortunate to have met and worked with Speech and Arrested Development and got a chance to just check them out. So without further ado, and I definitely need to find out how you figured out that formula to just come and shake the world of Speech. But welcome to Lyvation Conversations. It's an honor to have you with us.
Man, it's really a pleasure to be here, y'all. It's good to see everybody and good to see you, LA. It's been a minute. I was hoping to talk to you tonight, and we just sort of meshed it into an interview and a time with everybody. So I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you, Speech. Like LA said, man, we're grateful that you're here. And it took me 5 years, 3 months, and 2 days in my life to get you here, my brother Speech. So I want to welcome you to Lyvation Conversations. And everybody, let's give my man a big round of applause, please. Thank you, Speech. Without further ado, Speech, because I know our time is limited with you, I want to thank you again, but I'm going to get right into it, brother. Why the name Don't Fight Your Demons?
The name really comes from the addiction world, where people are addicted to whatever it is, drugs or alcohol or sex or food. And a lot of times we fight demons, and we are, unsuccessful many times. And the truth of this title is that it's saying, instead of fighting these demons, invite them in, have a seat with them, try to understand what service they are providing you. Because a lot of times we won't allow these demons to leave our life because they are soothing some type of traumatic reality in our life. And so it's saying, instead of fighting them, have a conversation with them, understand what they're there for, then replace them with something positive and productive. So it's called Don't Fight Your Demons. And it's an album about a lot of those challenges in my own life. And I think it can relate to a lot of people. So, yeah.
Okay, before I pass this over to Tia, because she's excited about talking to me, we were just checking out some of the project before we started this conversation today. Now, did you come up with the title before you started this project, or was it something that happened midway through or after you finished the production on this?
It was early on. I've been reading books and I found this concept, and I said this would be incredible for an album. But usually when you work on an album, well, at least for me, I don't know if I'm going to definitely use a cool title. And then once the music started to be formulated, I was like, this is definitely the title. So yeah, it was one of those situations.
I'm gonna shoot it over to my brother Deuce real quick. He's our medical official on staff right now, so I'm gonna pass it to you real quick, Deuce, so you can get back to surgery.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to say, hey, thank you, Jay Strong, for inviting me to the Lyvation Conversation, one of the best conversations on YouTube and up and coming for people of color and people with solutions to our world's problems. And one of our world's problems is that music should be injected, a little more into it, because Brother Speech, your music. First of all, good evening. I'm Deuce.
Good evening. What's up?
Yeah, and by the way, we got 3 Thomas boys in the meeting today. Just so you know, Jay. My name is Thomas also, and then my brother
Cool.
AD over there, and
Y'all are all sitting next to each other too.
and we all from the Midwest, so it's a connection somewhere. But I have two questions and one statement for you. First question is, what was your motivation for this new album?
Yeah, my motivation really was just a lot of the things going on. First of all, in my own life, and then in my career. Like, this album really addresses a lot of things, but some of the things that it addresses is the obstacles that I go through as a conscious artist in this industry, how the industry is purposely squashing conscious artists and messages from getting out to the mainstream. It is also at the same time purposely allowing and even elevating artists that are speaking about ignorance or being very narrow as far as the imagery, the lifestyle, the worldview, and especially when it comes to our people. So I address that a lot in a lot of songs. On the song Amazing, I talk about it. And a few other songs on this album, I talk about it. On the song Back Down, I talk about it. And so a lot of things motivated me writing this, but a lot of it, if I had to boil it down, was frustration about how hip hop has been hijacked and used as a tool, and in my opinion, the most powerful tool to brainwash basically another generation of young people and older people to think, act, and be a certain way. And it's very detrimental to change that narrative. So that's probably, if I had to say, one big thing. But of course, every song is about something different.
Okay. I want to expand on that. In place of the word brainwash, I'd like to use the word influence, because influence, the statement itself doesn't have negative connotations, but means basically the same thing, because that's what's happening with liberal media these days, and that's what's happening with conservative media. It's what you want to believe. If you constantly hear, you're great, one day you're going to be great. But if you're constantly hearing, you a bum, you turn into a bum. And that's basic psychology. So influence is very powerful. And so our language, which goes along with your name, speech, it kind of ties together. It gives you a more positive, your influence is positive before you even open your mouth, because not only your name, and you're associated with a positive word or positive vibe. So my second question is, from your last entry into the music world to now, why such a gap? This is where I need to understand the business of music, and why we become one hit wonders and then nothing happens in between. Then all of a sudden we put something else out and it's out of anger or situational or the world has changed or whatever. I mean, I believe for myself, it's not that I'm not trying to constantly make a hit, but am I connecting? Is my influence connecting with what's going on in the world today?
Yeah, that's a loaded question because, well, for us, we've been writing music since the 90s. So, our first album was in 92. We released
Right.
another one in 93. Then we did, it was Unplugged album. Then we did a follow-up sophomore record in 94, I'm going to say. And then we broke up for a while, came back together in 2000 and been releasing ever since. But the other part of your question was just how, what's going on in the industry that allows people to, sort of stop for a moment and then come back way later, and what makes them connect? What makes the music connect to the audience? And that's a great question. I can speak for myself. For me, we were constantly putting out music, but it wasn't connecting, and it's because in 1996 there was a Telecommunications Act that was signed that basically solidified what was already starting to form in the early 90s, which was huge corporations were buying up media, whether it be newspapers, the video channel on television, the radio stations, and the concert venues. Well, what happens when you do that is you basically consolidate the decision makers and the diversity of thought. So if you have very few decision makers affecting the influence, as you said, of millions of people at a time, which is what started to happen. Even right now in the music industry, you have 3 major labels. There used to be countless major labels. So there used to be numerous major labels and numerous independent labels. Now you have 3 major labels, and all of that means that there's a consolidation of decision. And many of these labels are also highly invested in privatized prisons. So you start to see huge connections in what they want to magnify and what they want to suppress and how it benefits them in numerous ways, whether it be the privatized prison, which has a 98% occupancy. They want to keep those beds filled at a 98% rate, whether it be materialism, which a lot of our music focuses on that. Well, that benefits so many different corporations and companies out here. But not so much us. In fact, it takes away from us because many times we're not the ones manufacturing these materials that everybody wants so desperately. So it messes with us on that level, but it also messes with our worldview and our thought processes and what we believe our purpose is in life and who we are supposed to be. So, and it also, just on one other level, messes with what other people across the planet think of us. And that then determines how they're going to react to us, whether it be police officers, whether it be judges, whether it be doctors, whether it be educators, so on and so forth. So this is a huge issue that is very, very powerful. And again, taking the narrative back.
Thank you, man. Appreciate.
Hey, just to jump in real quick, because you know what time it is right now with COVID and everything. And I remember when I first met you guys, y'all were, doing Japan 2-3 times a year and traveling all over the place. Outside of touring, though, how has COVID, or has it actually changed your basic routine any?
It's changed mine 100%. I mean, in my so Arrested Development's been rocking 30 years. My entire 30 years of this, I have never been home this long. I've never not toured this much.
Wow.
And it's unprecedented. And so, yeah, we're stuck at home. You can do virtual tours to some extent or virtual shows, but that's tougher because, first of all, group members are spread out throughout the city. And one of them now lives in New Orleans. So that's a little tough because, trying to keep safe as far as the virus itself. And then I have elderly parents. My mother and father are in their 80s. So there's a lot of factors that factor into all of this, but it's definitely changed like in a huge way. In fact, we were set to tour Dubai this year prior to COVID-19. We were set to do Europe, to do throughout the United States. We had sold out ticket shows that had already sold out night after night here in the States. All of that got canceled. And we don't even the gigs we're trying to get for 2021, it's the dynamics have changed because everyone's afraid. Nobody knows. The promoters who book me in the group, they don't know how it's going to be. So they're a little bit of afraid to give an advance or to give half down, which is customary in this world. So it's all the dynamics have changed, and we're going to see how it all lands, you know, as maybe a vaccine or whatever happens. But right now, everything's changed. It's turned upside down.
Speech first. Welcome to the panel. My name is Godfather X. I did have the pleasure of meeting Baba OJ. A man is so full of life. You know, I've talked with him on the side. I helped him move at one point in time, and very, very funny man, full of life. He shared things, his lips to my ears, for only me, and my life, my treasure chest of life is that much richer for meeting him. So I thank you for sharing him with the world. And my condolences.
Same with me.
He is missed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your
Amazing
creative
dude.
process, yes, very, very. Your creative process. What you say you write mostly on you know, personal life experience. With COVID and how the world is changing, the police brutality, and as you stated, you haven't been home this long in your whole 30-year span. Has that affected your creativity to write, or has it boosted it because you're more central and more focused?
I think it's boosted it. You know, I had been since the 90s, I have been working hard to try to get a discipline of writing all the time. So, you know, I believe in potential, and I believe that in order to make potential into something that's actually, you know, manifested, you gotta keep working at it. So I started to build that discipline for a while, but when COVID hit, it took it to another level. Obviously, everything else slowed down, and I was able to focus. And Don't Fight Your Demons is a result of that, which by far has gotten the best response we've had since the 90s. So probably 25 years of music, this has gotten the best response, and it's been an overwhelming change for us, and that's been great. So I'm really proud of that. And yeah, I think a lot more life focus, you know, and so therefore the topics and the subject matter have been more introspective on this record, but still relatable, which people have been telling me, so that's good. But yeah, it's definitely changed.
All right. Well, I wish you much more success and can't wait to hear it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Hello, speech.
LA, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying shy.
Oh, hey, LA, how you doing?
Cool.
Hey, speech, how you doing? Nice to meet you again. You probably don't remember me.
Good to see you.
I know. Thank you. I just saw you guys perform live in Union City like last summer. It was like seeing you the first time.
Oh, word up, yeah.
Yeah, the show was amazing. The energy was there. It's the same music, and it's just like the first time I heard it. It's amazing. Your music is timeless. But what I wanted to mention, and you're welcome. What I wanted to mention is, I remember you guys. I'm from Milwaukee, and I used to go to North Division High School. Right.
Come on.
And the first time that I saw y'all perform was at my high school. And the principal's nephew was part of y'all group. Do you remember?
Wow.
I remember his name, but he was part of Arrested Development, but his uncle was like the principal of North Division. So they got y'all to come to the school, and they filled up the auditorium, and y'all performed for us. This had to be in like 92. Like I probably was a freshman in high school or something.
That is deep.
But anyway, I know, right? It's amazing to see you. The longevity that you've had in the music business is just amazing. If you're from Milwaukee, right. I know it's and just to be in a business this long, but you are from Milwaukee, so you know about Milwaukee. Right?
Definitely.
So right, it's a tough place. It's very racist, very segregated.
Mm-hmm.
It's very manipulative.
It is.
You know, like, as far as the music, it's a guinea pig state. And so I agree with what you were saying about the music and how it has really influenced our young people and even adults. So do you think that it's ever an age that you're too old to do music? And the reason I say that is because music is testimony. You're so very young that, and not knocking none of the new artists, but if you've never even lived on your own, you just coming out of your mother's basement or something, and you just coming out to the world with all these views and influences, but you really don't have no experience to base it on. So I think that's why they're so easily influenced, because they're offering them a little bit of money and they're willing to say whatever without any experience. And it's like you have adults our age, people that are our age, following like a Meg Thee Stallion or a Nicki Minaj, and it doesn't fit. So do you think that there's ever an age where you're too old to do music?
I don't know. In fact, I think, like most things in life, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I think that just like a lot of the other genres of music, you're supposed to be able to be elder statesmen and even more deeply respected the older you are and the more gifted you get at your skill. And as I was telling you before, I think it's on purpose that, first of all, America always has had a infatuation with youth. And so there's this idea in America for a long time that the youth are always the thing that we all should just be focused on. A lot of other cultures I go to across the world don't have that same view, thank God. But even with that viewpoint, it seems that our music in particular has been stuck at a very sort of preteen complexity, preteen, especially our hip hop. And our R&B and funk and all of that don't even exist on a mainstream level. Like there is no mainstream R&B acts like there used to be, like Earth, Wind and Fire. I mean, maybe y'all can name who they are. I don't know who they are. But to me, the biggest R&B act might be Adele nowadays, or the biggest, it's totally changed, where a lot of the diversity of thought of our community has been narrowed down to pretty much sort of statesmen like a Meg Thee Stallion, or, I don't know, the various new hip hop acts that are out right now. So it's unfortunate. You got like a Cardi B that's going to interview, Joe Biden, for instance, which is like, how does that actually happen? Like for our whole entire community that, Cardi B is the one that's going to talk to the literal, at this point, vice president, possible president of the United States, or even an Ice Cube, who I respect, but it's still like, really, like, these are entertainers. Like, what about our scholars or our activists that have been doing this for decades now? Why not they talk to these people and speak, about issues that can affect us as a people? It's just a joke to me.
I agree. And then I just have one last question for you. As far as moving forward, like with the COVID situation, I think that I'm not going to specifically say that it's directly pointed towards African American.
I think what happens is when you start using keywords, they kind of lock you out. So we're gonna come back to you, Shot. You hold that thought. We're gonna swing it down to my man AD. AD, you with us tonight?
I'm here, man. I am so excited for the speech. It's so nice to meet you, sir.
Great to meet you, AD.
Of course, your music is phenomenal, man, and what you guys have been doing. I was sitting there listening, and of course, you touched a little bit on the censoring that the music industry has began to put on musicians now, versus during the 70s, we had a lot of good push to speak about Black matters and social unrest and those kind of things. And then the music changed around the late 90s to where they did not want to hear that. And honestly, when you start hearing one lead male vocalist, they started all sounding the same, you know, across the board. Almost most of the white female artists, I couldn't tell you one from the other. But you touched a little bit on that. Is there any? Do you see any way that dominance of corporate music being pushed away and artists are able to speak what in their minds again? And it be,
I do.
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. No, I mean, my feeling is that we have to start, and it's probably going to be the younger people that have the energy to do this, even though we as older, I don't know how old everybody is, but I'm 52. So people that's my age or more, or what have you, we have the wisdom, but the young people have the energy. So the energy to do what? To me, the what is to organize platforms and large DJ pools that have this mindset that can influence culture. So in other words, thousands of DJs at a time getting together and making decisions to push this particular record or these artists, that can start to have an influence, but it does take a lot of groundwork. It's a grassroots type of thing. There's numerous DJ pools that exist, don't get me wrong. Unfortunately, many of them just aren't conscious enough to make a purposeful decision to make sure they're pushing certain music that helps to change the narrative of our people from an entertainment standpoint. And that's the same thing we need for television as well. We need a great numerous amount of people that are insistent on changing the narrative of our stories and the things that we're, digesting as a people and what other people are digesting about us. So that's what I feel needs to happen.
Awesome. And the other thing I just want to say, I commend musicians who have the ability to write and speak their minds. There's some of us, to conclude myself in my career field, I can't totally say what's on my mind all the time. And right, so when I'm writing music and writing things, most of it is still in the book, just sitting right here, because if I was to ever say any of that right there, they'll look at me funny when I get to the office. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I'm pretty sure that in due time I'll be able to say those things and voice my opinion. But my hat's off to all the brothers and sisters, man, that stepped out there and let their voices be heard, despite the need to have to go and do other things and then be held back from being able to do it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I mean, I love musicians for the same reason. Like for me, I was deeply inspired by groups like A Public Enemy or Tribe Called Quest or Jungle Brothers or KRS-One, among many others like Bob Marley and other genres of music. But, those artists deeply inspired me, deeply changed my life path. And I always felt that hip hop, it's something that can help to change ours, and it can, in my opinion, it's the biggest export that we have as a people. It goes throughout the planet. Hip hop right now is the largest genre on the planet Earth, and I've been to little corners of Africa or Asia, New Zealand, with the Maori tribes in New Zealand, or the Aboriginals in Australia, or the people in Africa, and hip hop is everywhere. It's all over these places. Unlike country music or unlike rock music, a lot of these people don't know a lot of the rock groups and all of that, but they know hip hop. And I'm talking about whites, blacks, Asians, different people of different nationalities. So I say all of that to say that music is still, from a creative standpoint, primarily controlled by us, just the creative standpoint, not the distribution and the business side of it. And so we have a chance to reach people across the world, to tell a story that is different and to change the narrative. And I just would really encourage us artists to keep doing that.
Speech, I remember when you guys were touring, I was hanging out with Baba OJ. We came down and you do rehearsals over at your crib in the studio, and your kids were small, I guess about 5 or 6. Now that so many years have gone by, where are they? Do they look like they're going to kind of go into the music, or where's their head as far as music is concerned right now?
Yeah, my son is a musician. He's a full out producer. He makes his own music videos. He makes his own beats. He rhymes, and he goes under the artist name of Sage Coy. and he had a viral song that just came out earlier this year, and it did really well on TikTok and stuff like that. He's 26 now. My daughter is, I know, right? My daughter is 23. Her name is Zoe, and she's an actress. So she decided to go into the acting world, and she has been on a TV show on TV One called Bad Dad Rehab. She was on a show on BET called The Quad. She was a major part in that, both of those. And then she had her own film called Jinn, Jinn, that she's the star of, and it's a really powerful film. Then she did what's it called? Nancy Drew Mysteries for Warner Brothers. She's one of the main characters on that. And now she's, right before COVID-19 started, she was filming for Amazon, a TV show that they're going to put out called Masters. So she's been doing a lot of great work, and she's a really, really talented actress. And my son is an incredibly talented musician. So they're both in the arts.
That's beautiful. That's really,
yeah, it is beautiful. I'm very proud of them. Very proud.
Yeah,
Okay.
Congratulations on that, man. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna talk to the younger generation too, Speech. So let your son know about us, and we would love to hear about his viral experience. And we probably could help out some of these.
Yeah, no doubt.
Here. So just send him our way, because we definitely want to talk to him.
yeah.
But real quick,
No doubt.
I'm gonna swing it back to the rest of the panel. But I know Tia, she wanted to know exactly, how did you get your name?
Yeah, that's a funny situation. I used to be called DJ Peach because of my big head. And then when I started rhyming, they I put an S in front of the peach.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, man, that makes sense. I'm starting to rhyme now because I was a DJ, and I'm starting to rhyme now. And it's like, I'll call myself Speech. And it just made sense to me, and I just stuck with it.
I got you. I want to switch gears. Speech. I almost called you Peach. And that would be DJ Peach, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, DJ Peach, yeah.
But real quick, man, I just want to commend you on something that that I know that you've been working on, that you've worked on and you've released last year, which is the 16 Bars documentary.
Yeah.
Could you just explain to our panelists and all of our viewers out there, if they have not came across this documentary, exactly what that entails?
Yeah, I released it's a full-length documentary called 16 Bars. It's on Amazon Prime right now. It's on Hulu, Vudu, and YouTube, and all these platforms. And I definitely want people to check it out. I went to a prison to talk with the inmates. I call them residents. And I talked to them, did music with them, followed them around with cameras. And it's a powerful, powerful documentary about their lives mainly. I'm just trying to produce and make good music with them. And it's one of the most powerful things I've ever done. I stayed in the jail myself for 10 days, and it just was extremely powerful. And we won a number.
How was that experience?
It was for me just deeply.
Was it a humbling experience to be locked down like that?
It was humbling. It was dehumanizing. And for me, I could be let out at any point. So all I had to do was push a button and be let out. So I say that to say I've only experienced a little fraction of what they experienced, because they don't have that luxury that I have. So it was tough, just to be in that atmosphere, to take away all of the things that I take for granted, just smells, colors, sounds that I'm used to in the regular world. And when you're in that pod, it's concrete, doors slamming. You hear this little slight hums of machinery and stuff. It's just very mechanical. It feels unlike anything any of us have felt, unless, of course, you spent time in prison or jail. It's a whole nother experience.
Yeah, I was just curious about that, man, because I thought that was real inspirational, man, and motivational for the residents. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah,
I know when they heard about you coming and just the anticipation of you being there and the reason that you was there, I know that just lifted everybody's spirit.
It did, and it lifted my spirits. I didn't know what to expect. I was partially afraid, to be honest, because I didn't know what to expect. I had been in prisons before, but it was a woman's prison one time, and that was a totally different type of experience. Then this time, I don't know, the fact that I was going to be there for more than one day or more than a few hours or what have you, it just was, you know, I didn't know what to expect, but I really was surprised by the humanity. I was surprised by the complexity and the knowledge that these men and women that I talked to had. And I just was very moved by it. It was a deep movie and something that I think everybody should see.
Go ahead, dude. You got something for a speech real quick?
Yeah. You up there in Milwaukee. I have a I have a nephew up there. He's a performer up there. I don't know if you're familiar with the name Sincere.
That sounds familiar to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He's kind of like an R&B / rapper up there. And I've had I think your former guitar player, who me and AD know very well, Kennedy Atkinson.
Oh yeah, Kennedy. Yeah.
Yeah, he
I've
lives
known
here
Kennedy
in,
for many decades.
yeah, yeah, he lives here in Fayetteville. We've crossed path played together many times. But I'd like to say in parting, thank you for the inspirational.
Very talented guitar player.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One of the best. Myself being an instrumentalist, guitar being my main instrument, you know, I got a long way to go to catch up with his skill level, but at the same time, everyone that plays, everyone that raps, everyone that injects their personal experiences into music is just as good as they want to be. So you know, I never pass judgment on anybody because the guy, like we learned last a couple of weeks ago from some producers, the wobble was made on GarageBand, so you can't say.
Wow.
Yeah, so little things like that, you know, we don't always know. It's not always the size of the room that makes the sound good. It's the size of the heart in the room that makes the sound good. And we appreciate your knowledge, your wisdom that you have imparted on us. And I got to go back to work and do some operating on some peoples. But peace and love, brother.
Peace, man. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Just to piggyback off of Kennedy, boy, I tell
Thank you, Deuce.
Kennedy is I mean, you look at him playing, and I remember when you know, a couple of shows we did, and you look at him, and it doesn't look like his hands are moving that fast, but the music coming through there is just incredible, man. I'm just glad. And speech, we'll talk about this in another conversation, but you know, we're doing a remake of What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, and Kennedy did play guitar on that song, and he just did a exceptional job. But trying to help Tia out with her language, she was mentioning or asking also, and I know you touched on it, about the DJs and folks settling in and making a concentrated effort to make a narrative. But Tia wanted to find out if you thought that the you know, our music, our people will ever be truly independent, whether that red tape would ever come off. And I know part of the answer is by making a concentrated effort to do so by DJs and all the big voices. But she mentioned, and I heard about this about a week or two ago, about Stevie Wonder finally leaving Motown and starting his own label. Do you think something new, could that be the beginning of this new movement?
Well, I'll say this. The good news is it has begun. We all need to support it. There's Rock the Bells, started by LL Cool J. His main objective is to play old hip hop, but also to play artists that have been around for a while, their new songs. So that's good. You got Chuck D has started And You Don't Stop, God's Radio. So all of these are platforms Chuck D started that are very helpful in doing what we just talked about. Stevie Wonder doing the same thing. To me, it's like there's a lot of Black record labels out there, whether it be No Limit with Master P down in New Orleans, or numerous people, you know, Jay-Z with Tidal, and which isn't a record label, but it's a streaming platform. The difference is you got to also have the consciousness. And I'm not dissing those brothers. I love what they're doing in a lot of regards, but it's important to have the consciousness so that it's purposeful. And it's not just a platform to make money. I mean, we definitely understand the need to make money with any business endeavor, but to be conscientious about what you're putting out there and striving to change the narrative, that takes a whole nother level of purpose and intentionality. And I hope that some of those that do have the resources, or at least have friends that do have resources, can go ahead and make those, create those outlets for all of us artists to be able to go through those, you know, businesses to make a huge change.
Cool, cool, excellent. That's what it's going to take. Did that get you set right, Tia? All right. That's good.
All right, Speech, we're going to let you get out of here in a few minutes, sir. But everybody just want to give one last shout out to you before we get up out of here. So I'm gonna let Shy, the bad girl, Shy right there down there.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I guess I got cut off last time. You know, the hate is real. Again, it was a pleasure speaking with you, Speech, and seeing you again after all these years, just face to face and not on stage so far away. You look really different in person. You look better in person. But no, I have a serious question. A lot of how you're saying that Black people, or I like to say melanated people, because that's another program. But if we start, at least what we answer to is very important. If we continue to answer to Black, then we shouldn't do that. And it's a deeper explanation. But as melanated people, do you think that it's okay to sell, like you said, we control the sound, and they really can't get that sound without us. They need us to develop the sound, but then they use us and trick us out of it some kind of way, and then it belongs to them. Our likeness, our voice, our thoughts, everything is like, that's mine. How did it get to be yours? And you're not creative. You can't do this without me. But yet you hold everything, my whole life in your hands. So people that, like, for example, Timberland is a big producer. He created a wave of a sound, but he helped a lot of artists that wasn't melanated artists create that sound. And I just wonder, do you think, and I probably know the answer, but is it okay to get a check and in the process sell your soul, basically, because that's your everything. It's your everything. So is it okay to be like, well, it's okay because I needed the money? But I don't know what you've done, but I've seen that you have stayed in your lane and it's been lucrative for you.
Yeah. I think that when you know better, you should do better. And so there was a point in hip hop when it was a brand new genre that, yes, people were going to sign bad deals. They knew no better. They had never done this before. And then there was a point after that where we started to see the horror stories ourselves. We started to hear about it. We all know that MC Hammer lost all that. We all know that TLC was broke after a while. We all know. So these things start to become parables or proverbs in a sense for us. And after you know better, then yes, you should do different so that we can own the rights to our own music. So I think that consciousness is very important, meaning being aware of how these people will own your content, how long they will own it, the fact that you won't have the rights to it. Prince tried to tell us that over and over and over and over again. And so we have elders or people of wisdom that have been striving to teach us, and now we just have to apply that. And so I've been applying it for probably 25 years now, but my first album, no, I didn't know. Arrested Development came out. We were like, Ishi was probably 16. That's one of the sisters in the group, all the way to Headliner, who's Bob OJ was the oldest, and he was 57. So after him, it was Headliner, who was 22. So we were really young. We had no clue. And that was back in 91, 92. So much has happened now. And if we are conscientious and learn from this, then younger artists shouldn't make that same mistake. Unfortunately, so many are, though. And their likeness, their sound, our influence as a people gets bought up and trademarked and used against us. We have to pay for it to even use it ourselves.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, again, I appreciate your perspective, and it's very enlightening. I am a reggae artist myself now, so I just wonder if you needed an arm or a leg. Like, you want my arm?
Exactly.
Exactly. I'm gonna just put it out there. To be able to do a song with you would mean the world to me. I don't know what your time is like, but I just said it, so there, I said it. It was nice to meet you, though. At least I said it. You know, they'd be like, you didn't shoot your
Please,
shot. I had to shoot my shot.
No, I agree. Make sure to hit up LA, and he has my information, and I'd love to hear what you're doing. So, let me hear what you got.
All right. Nice meeting you.
So Speech, before 91, 92, you were developing your sound and putting tracks together to get that debut album out. You've released multitudes of albums. When I met you in the early 2000s, y'all had just put out this out. I thought that was the baddest thing on that. Was you had so many great songs on that. I thought it was going to change the world again. And now you're still releasing music. You've done your own solo projects in between. Would you say that you're continuing to learn and grow, or did you kind of find a lane that you can kind of swim in and kind of bounce around and still have, options to do things, or is it just still a constantly learning process for you?
I think it's a little bit of both, LA. I'm learning a lot still, and the industry is constantly changing. And at the same time, there is a lane that really has become more and more clear to me the older I get, and the more I see who hasn't filled the void that Arrested Development left when we did leave the scene in the early 90s and came back. There's been a void there that still hasn't been filled, and that let me know, okay, like you just said, Gal, it's like shoot my shot. You know what I mean? Like, stay in this lane, keep doing some things, but I'm still growing too. I'm still learning. I feel like my lyricism is better than today than it was in the 90s. So that's like continuing to get better and better. And I want to always do that.
Cool. Well, we appreciate you, man. And I'm not sure where we are time-wise, but you could have been doing any number of a million things. You still doing the reel-to-reel over there at the headquarters?
No, I'm now on Pro Tools, totally digital and in the box. Nothing analog anymore. I used to,
Wow.
as you know, I used to have a Neve board. I used to have the 2-inch reels and everything. But over time, everything is condensed.
So
now I can take my laptop to the hotel room with me and make a song.
So it's no longer feasible, because what you were doing was recording on the reel-to-reel and then dumping it into Pro Tools back when I met you. So now that's just totally gone?
Yeah.
Wow. Progress. Wow.
It's totally gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you ever do
and I don't even know if it's progress, to be honest. I think it's just convenience.
Okay.
Would you ever do like a throwback song to get that nostalgic sound on a new project, or would you just strictly stay digital?
I'm totally open to doing a throwback type of sound, and I love the analog, way of going about things. Me and Lenny Kravitz are friends, and he hooked me to a analog sound years ago, and that's my favorite way of approaching music. But as I was telling LA, a lot of times for convenience sake, I don't do that. It's funny because as new generations of engineers come up, a lot of them don't even know how to work analog equipment, but they bad at what they do, but they don't know how to do that. They don't even know how to change a tape. They don't know how to clean a tape machine. It's like, it's a totally different world. And a lot of the dudes that were great at that, unfortunately, some of them have died. Some of them are just out of the business. They're not making any money from it. So the whole industry has changed on that regard. I don't know too many people that are still doing reel-to-reels at their homes anymore, but of course there's still some bigger studios. I was at Tree Sound here in Atlanta, and they still have their reel-to-reel and stuff like that. But like Rick Ross was in there, or 2 Chainz was in there. I don't even think they used the reel-to-reel at all. I think they just ended up doing everything out of the box. It's a different world.
Wow, man.
Push button society now.
Hey, D, you got a last remark for speech?
I'm just overwhelmed at what I'm listening to today, and to sit here and talk with this brother and you guys, man. It's just always, every week, it just sees me reeling through the whole week, man, what I just did for that night. And sir, I really appreciate this talk. Now tell me, nobody talked about this, and you haven't said it yet either, but 5 years from now, what do you think Speech is going to be doing?
Well, I hope to be, first of all, a few things. My wife owns an organic juice company. I hope 5 years from now, it is literally one of the top organic juice companies in this nation. 2, I would like for Arrested Development, of course, I'm hoping COVID would be done with fully. And Arrested Development's touring again. with this new music, which I'm extremely excited about. And of course, even more music by 5 years from now. And my solo career, same difference. And, things like that. So like, I got some dreams as far as music that I have. And then there's sides like with my wife and my children. So all of those things I'm just hoping will continue to be a really big success, because we're working really hard to make an incredible product, and we're learning a lot on how to put a business or a brand out there that has longevity. And we're learning from a lot of skillful people. So I'm really hoping to be one of those people that have sort of like a Chick-fil-A type of franchise or something like that, where it's clearly here for quite a long time.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I hope you do and your family make it down here to North Carolina, and we get a chance to see you on that schedule, and we get a chance to come out and see you.
Thank you, man. I like North Carolina, actually. I was just in Asheville, North Carolina, a couple days ago for my birthday, and it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So I love North Carolina. So definitely.
Awesome. Thanks.
So how about those gems on how people could follow you, get your music, watch your videos, stay socially connected?
Yeah, so the new album is called Don't Fight Your Demons. The full-length documentary is called 16 Bars. My queen, my wife, 30 years together. She has her organic juice company. It's called Yogi Juice Bar. All of that you can find at my website, brotherspeech.com.
Great.
Sounds great, man. We appreciate you, Speech. I just want to give you one more big round of applause for all of your success in the industry and all the great things that you're doing for our community, man, and for the culture, man. I know people use that word loosely. Culture, everybody's trying to do it for the culture.
You've always been doing it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that, LA.
So we appreciate you.
I want to congratulate you on keeping the most powerful force in the universe alive, Black love. I congratulate you and your wife on 30 years. That in this day and age, that is rare for people of color. And I commend you, and thank you so much for keeping Black love alive. Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Speech. We love you, man.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Love y'all too, man. Stay strong, y'all.
Yes, sir.
I'm rare and I'm a T. I scare when I re-up with a rough rhyme for the whole industry. When I retire, be desired as a spiritual being. We won 2 Grammys, but when consciousness was killed, we became raps, orphan Annies up on the bill. Daddy brought bucks, gave us bucks to tear it up. And tear it up we do like Staffers and Watergate, shredded everything as a groove. People talk soon, equal walk, equal proof. Evil stalks truth, so I guess more or less it's arrested development. They stalking us, dude.